Councillor Wade Cleveland, and I am joined by the Deputy Mayor, Steve Barry.
Hello, hello.
Bear, we are here to talk about funding and a process that we go through every year. It's always been a nightmare for me, and it's great to know that it's kind of been a nightmare for all of us, and it's something we discussed an awful lot in the last maybe 6 months or more.
For sure, yeah. It's been brought up at the table a few times. We check best practices with other councillors or other councils and kind of how they did things. And it's not an easy process, but we want to be fair to everybody and make sure that people know that we support the extracurriculars that people think are important here. And I think we've come up with a better plan than kind of in the past, not an arbitrary, random draw of things. And it's I'm happy with the results that we have, and I think moving forward it'll be easier for the community as well.
Yeah, I think so too. So what we're talking about specifically are those operational grants and sometimes even property tax grants that certain organizations, and I won't name one of them, but certain organizations and events and that kind of thing ask the town for, and it happens every year. Now the way it used to be, and I've gotten a few calls as we film this. This is early February, and usually back in the day, the deadline was the end of January, and I have had organizations call and say, wait a minute, there's been no advertising. What's going on? What happened is we have changed the way we do things when it comes to the operational grants. And so instead of doing it once a year, we're going to do it twice a year, and there's more of a structure to it. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that and what kind of led to that.
Yeah, so before in past years, it was kind of an arbitrary number, kind of how we figured it out. And council had a lengthy discussion, and we decided that 1 cent from our property taxes would go towards this. And I believe that totals right somewhere around $44,000. So that is the amount that will be given out for operational grants. And just to kind of reiterate the whole operational thing, these grants are to help out. They aren't primary grants. They aren't to do all, to tell all. It's a lot of clubs and organizations within our community don't really have the ability to fundraise a whole lot. So it's here you go. We appreciate what you're doing. We appreciate what you're offering to the town. And we all sit down, we write down our numbers, we average it out. And that's kind of how we come up with who gets how much. But knowing that we have that $44,000 to draw from, we do have kind of a new structure on when people can apply and kind of when this will come out. And I'm sure Councillor Wade will let you know kind of factual about how the new process will take place.
Yeah, we'll go through that. One thing I did want to mention, and it is something that was discussed at length. First off, that 1 cent, so we have that actual point where we could reach. But also the fact that there's a cap this year, because we've had organizations come and ask for $40,000. We've literally had that happen, and we know we can't give it because we'd only have $40,000 to give to everyone who's asked for it.
And that way no other organization will receive anything. And it's very important to us to be across the board on everything, to make sure everyone has an equal chance, and that we support as many organizations as we can so our community can take part in these things.
Absolutely. We're talking events, summer events. We're talking about organizations that need that little extra help. Everything from things like, the knitting groups and seniors groups.
Yep.
Exactly. So, as we mentioned, the deadline has changed. It used to be the end of January. Now there are 2 deadlines, and what happens is 70% of the funds that we have will be going on that first giveaway, if you will, or the first awarding of grants, and then 30% will happen in the fall. So the first deadline is on the 15th of April. So you've got until the middle of April to get your applications in. Now there's 2 types of grants. Property tax grants, and there's only one of those. That whole process really hasn't changed much. And operating grants. Tax grants are considered, again, once a year. So if you're applying for that property tax grant, again, it's mid-April and that's the only chance you get. But when it comes to operating grants, say you've come up with an idea for an event and you hadn't come up with the idea, and this has happened before.
That's right.
You haven't come up with the idea at the time that the first budget goes. You can apply in the fall. Operating grants are considered, again, twice per year. You can only apply once, but they're twice per year. Any group or organization applying for an operational grant must submit their application by the 15th of April or the 15th of September. And the maximum amount, as mentioned, $5,000. We mentioned about the 30-70 split, so 70% for the April deadline, 30% for the fall one. And council may, if they want kind of help, and it happens, you know, somebody makes an application and we really don't know who they are. Council may, at their discretion, ask any group or organization to present to council. Now, there are certain things you have to do, too. There's an application form that you have to fill out, and it's going to ask you for budget numbers, that kind of thing. Incomplete applications will not be considered. And if you want to make the application, come to Town Hall. You can get an application there, or you can go online, and that's townofyarmouth.ca, and then you just hand it in. Or if you're electronic, you can email it to admin, A-D-M-I-N, at townofyarmouth.ca. And up on the website, if you want to review all the policies, they're all there. You just go to townofyarmouth.ca and it's all there for you. And if you have any questions, hey, ask me, ask Steve, ask any of the counselors out there, and we're more than willing to help you through that.
For sure, we're always happy to support what we can. We try to be as fair as we can, and I think with these new policies and rules in place, I really think it's best practices moving forward. So please apply, make sure your applications are in on time, and we'll do our best we can to support it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.